welcome again one another edition of my new YouTube channel. Thanks for all my subscribers, thanks for all the likes, thanks for all the comments.
Between what is going on in Iran and what took place with Iraq a few couple of years ago, or decades ago I should say. So let me get some of my notes and let me see what I have in regards to the situation that is going on in the Middle East, the situation that is going on in the Middle East. So let me get my notes and see what is what. So according to so this is saying we're gonna be looking at the echoes of Iraq, the parallels with modern day Iran, and we're gonna have a look and see if there's any similarities or whatever. Anyway, let's dive in. So according to my notes, so let's see what we have here. So let's start again. So hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. You're watching Scorpion Queen TV, and today we're gonna take a deep dive into the history and headline of what I was saying. So we're gonna be delving into the history of Iran and Iraq and what comparison I see. Remember people, these are just my opinion. You know me say that's what you think, and if you think something else, you can always create a video and share your opinions to others so that others can see what you're up to. But as I'm saying, this is just my opinion on the matter. So we are comparing two major flashpoints. I hope this camera doesn't go. We're comparing two major flashpoints in the Middle East, right? The Iraq War that war began in 2003, and the escalating crisis that is currently going on in Iran today. What is it that they have in common? What is it that Iraq and Iran have in common? What lessons have we learned or not learned? So stick around, and this might change your look on global politics. So let's get into my notes and see what further we can get from out of all of the situation with Iraq and Iran and the similarities and whatever it may be, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with Iraq. In 2003, the United States under President George W. Bush, they launched a full-scale invasion of Iraq. Well, that's a them talking Iraq. I said Iraq. The state, and their reason was Iraq was allegedly stockpiling weapons of mass destruction. Who remember that? When they said Iran was stockpiling weapons of mass destruction, and we all knew how that one went, right? The stated reason was that Iraq was allegedly stockpiling weapons, and that was proven to not be true. Weapons of mass destruction, and they had ties to terrorism. We knew that was a lie. We all knew how that one ended. Those claims were later proven to be false, but the invasion had already begun. Under Iraq's government, Saddam Hussein, he was toppled very quickly. When I remember when they said they found Saddam Hussein hiding like a rat or something like that, hiding in a some, yeah, they make it look as terrible as can be. So again, let's continue and we see we're just comparing the two things, right? So Iraq government under Saddam Hussein, they were toppled very quickly, but instead of stability, Iraq spiraled into chaos, and we all see and hear what that chaos is. So Iraq, they spiraled into chaos, a civil war, terrorism and foreign intervention dominated their country for the next 2 decades. So for more than 20 years, they have been facing a lot of things. The country has not been the same since Saddam Hussein was toppled. And remember how the US had to come and drag out them troops, and you know, these are how these people do things. So anyway, the war, it cost hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars, as you would expect, right? And now, jump fast forward to today, 2025. Look at Iran, look at the state that Iran is in, and look if you see any you look at yourself, a country that was freed and doing well, prospering, like whatever, anything the United States and Britain, any country they go and they touch, you know, so it's just total chaos, and a lot of people just probably looking away or don't seem to be getting it, or I don't know, but I'm interested to know with these things, you understand? Iran today is under severe pressure. The country is dealing with economic sanctions, internal unrest, and rising tension with Western powers, especially the United States of America and Israel. The nuclear issue, it remains at the center. Western nations accuse Iran of pursuing nuclear weapon, and it says Iran says it's developing peaceful energy. So does that sound familiar to you guys of what they said were taking place in Iraq? And the people, they're repeating the same thing. It's like they're repeating the same exact thing, and a lot of people are still turning a blind eye away, as if to say, like, come on, you need to come with some new stuff, right? On top of that, recent attacks on US allies in the region with drone strikes, proxy wars in Syria and Yemen, and cyber attacks have put Iran at the edge of open conflict with major powers. Now, you know what I want to know is, like, everyone said they want to have nuclear powers so that they're able to protect themselves. But only one country ever dropped a nuclear weapon before, and that's the United States of America. They are the only country that have ever used nuclear weapon. So why they don't want, why is it that other countries shouldn't have nuclear to protect themselves? Why is it that it's okay for Israel to have a nuclear weapon, but it's not okay for Iran, Iraq, whatever the country is? Why is it not okay for those countries to have nuclear weapon? Why are we going to trust America more than how we trust other countries, when America was the one that dropped, that used nuclear weapon on other countries, and they're worried, all of a sudden they're worried about nuclear weapon? I tell you, some people just want to have power, and they don't want power to be shared by no one, and they must control everything, and I just saw the thing go. So that's the next note I have. On top of that, your recent attack, the US allies in the region, drone strike, proxy wars, cyber attacks, you understand, have put Iran at the edge of open conflicts with major powers. The Israel-Iran tension have especially heated up in the last year. And if anybody follow Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever his name is, Netanyahu, you will know that from the 90s, this man have been saying these people are this close to having nuclear, this close to have, and nothing never happened. So, and this man has, if they were so close to having nuclear since the 19, 2 weeks away, 1 week away, 1 month away from having nuclear, to be able to make nuclear weapons. But the thing about it, why they were able to attack Iran this time, is that Netanyahu have a president where he knows that he can twist around, and Donald Trump not really understand. Donald Trump not understand, say, Donald Trump not understand, say, Lord, me just want a man a wife in that, but me totally lose my train of thoughts. I totally have lost my train of thoughts, because I just, why did he have to come here? Anyway, let's continue. So let's talk about the biggest echo between the Iraq and the Iran war, between Iraq and Iran, the WWD narrative, right? In Iraq, false claims about chemical and nuclear weapon a nuclear weapon justify the war. In Iran's case, nuclear development is once again being used as a central argument for aggressive foreign policy. Back then, mushroom clouds were used to stir public fear. Yes, remember that. Today, similar languages is being used when talking about Iran's nuclear program. Despite a lack of proof, despite these people having no evidence, nothing at all, they are going full ahead. They're just going ahead with the narrative that they have made up in their head, right? Despite lack of hard proof weaponization, it raises the question: are we seeing the same playbook all over again? Another similarity would be regime change goal. And why would you want to? Why is it that the first world country, especially England and the US, no Israel and whatever, why is it that they think that they have this moral ground to choose how other countries operate, when these countries like England and the US, they have the condition that they have citizens living in, and then proclaiming that they are a first world country and they are free for all and whatever. You wouldn't have so much of the population in a dire, like their country is underneath. You see how many homeless people, this country, they have so many homeless people, especially in America, and you want to go to someone else and have regime change and tell someone, you're covering free speech in America, where people cannot speak whatever it is unless you're a Republican, unless you're a MAGA Republican. But anybody else speak about free speech, then they are wrong. Ah, boy. Anyway, let's go, guys. This says it's very windy outside, so I'm trying to watch my pole from now. Right? So now they're talking about regime change. In Iraq, the US aimed to remove Saddam and install democracy. That's what they wanted. That's what they said was gonna happen. Why you? The more I think about some Caucasian, it's like these people, something going on them head. Anyway, today, many hawks in Washington and Tel Aviv talk openly about regime change. So it's not like they're hiding it. You understand me? They're talking openly about regime change in Iran. They want to dismantle the Islamic Republic and replace it with something that is more pro-Western. Like, why would you want to do that when you have your own country, where you can sort out your country? You have a country where people can't get, the access to healthcare is very, very limited, and they're even trying to make it worse. You people don't have healthcare for all in your country. Like right now in the UK, if the government come up with a new rule and say everybody gonna deduct £4 a week out of your pay that's going towards the NHS, I would gladly do it. You understand? I would be up for that. Like £1 of my money every week I go towards the NHS to help it. I don't have no problem with that. But in America they don't think like that. In America you have to why it's all for them, is each for themselves, I guess. And if you don't have health care, then that's too bad. That's not our problem or whatever. But if you say it's a first world country, your citizens supposed to be living well, man. Your citizens should be living well. Right? That mindset, saying that you want to dismantle their system and give them a more Western like, or to put in a puppet that you want, in other words, so you can take away everything from underneath Iran. Underneath Iran, you can take all them oil, you can take everything for them to build up your country and then leave those. People are getting more smarter. It's not like before where people were probably not speaking up, or they could come and con people, because that's all the Caucasian good for going and con people. But a lot of people finding out about them now, and it's not as easy as it was back in the days, especially with the media now, and everything is so quick and people are easy to get information. And so you guys are going to have a difficult job, right? That mindset leads to prolonged conflict, because if you decide that that's what you want to do, that not going to happen. And to get that, you're going to have a lot of DEATHS. Those people in the Middle East are going to suffer a lot. And for what? For whose benefit? For the rich people, them benefit. So as I said, that mindset, it leads to prolonged conflict, power vacuums, and unintended consequences. Is it really unintended though? Do you think it's really unintended consequences? like what happened in Iraq and later Syria and Libya? Do you think that's unintended? I surely don't. Replacing authoritarian. Them talk about authoritarian. So what is Donald Trump now? Donald Trump not authoritarian. So why is it that it's easier to call someone in the Middle East authoritarian than it is to call Donald Trump, who is Donald Trump? These people are snatching people from off the road. These people not getting due process. They don't want these people to go in the court system. So why you feel like say? I know probably a lot of people gonna come on this comment. Anyway, as I said, these are my opinion. Go and go make a video, put out your opinion and let me hear what your opinion is. My videos are not for everybody. Who like it, and who don't like it. No find the people them. But don't come over here and tell me what my opinion should be here. Yeah. Alright. So replacing an authoritarian regime without long-term planning, that never ends well. But clearly the American people them now go them not see it like that, my love. Right? Saddam Hussein, he was once a US ally. You know, that's what I'm saying. All these people that the US are against, they were once US allies. US spent money on these people. They promote these people. But then when these people are not doing what they want them to do, then they become their enemies. So, you see how that one go? Them use you, and then when them have enough of you, they just throw you away and adjust the thing said. So as I said, Saddam Hussein, he was once an ally of America. Then he became the face of evil overnight. We're seeing the same pattern with Iran's leadership, especially the Ayatollah and top military figures. Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, killed in 2020, was painted as a terrorist. But in Iran, he was seen as a national hero. Right? When the media dehumanizes enemy leaders, it becomes easier to justify extreme actions like sanctions, assassinations, and military strikes, because that's what they try to do. That's what they always do. Them sway the public mind to think a certain way, and then most of us are so gullible that we don't do any research into anything. We just run with it. You understand me? But we all know that most of the mainstream media propaganda them spread, and I just saw the thing said. Who know and who no know. And as I said, I just thought of doing this video to show the similarities between what is going on in Iran now and what took place in Iraq. What was it, 2003 when the Bush War? So Iraq became the center of a regional proxy war between the Sunni and the Shiite powers, mainly Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now Iran is involved in multiple proxy conflicts: Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, even Iraq itself. The same geopolitical players, Saudi Arabia, Israel, the USA, Iran, are circling the same battlefield. The sectarian divided that fueled post-war Iraq is now being replayed in Iran's regional footprint. It's the same chessboard, it's just a new king. And the same thing them do. It's the same thing. You remember when President Donald Trump was campaigning, he said he's the president that's gonna end all this war. He's not gonna take us into no war, and he's the president for peace. Less than 6 months: January, February, March, April, May, June. January, February, March, April, May. 5 months in, and look all the chaos where the president, the US president is causing now. Look all the problem, right? Both Iraq and Iran have faced crippling sanctions. In Iraq, the sanctions were before 2003 were so extreme that they caused a humanitarian disaster, especially for children and the poor. Things like these, poor people always suffer. And them no business. You think they care? They care zero. In Iran, decades of sanctions have devastated the economy, triggered inflation, and hurt ordinary people far more than the government elites. Economic warfare, like military warfare, hits civilian first. And in both cases, people on the ground suffer while political elites hold on to power. But there's one big difference. The age of social media. So as I was saying before, because of social media, news spread like wildfire. Nothing is able to be hidden, because once it's out, somebody gonna tell somebody, and then everybody's gonna know. So the major difference between Iraq and Iran is because of the social media era that we are living in now. During the Iraq War build up, most people relied on cable news. So now you have people like us, you have bloggers, you have all type of people that use the internet and I send out them information now. So it's not so easy to conceal what is going on. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? Now with social media, we see protests in Tehran live. We hear from Iranian citizens directly. We have independent voices questioning government narratives on both sides. This increased visibility has made it harder to repeat the lies of 2003. But you know how Donald Trump is still gonna find a way to spin it, but people are not as gullible as we were in 2003, thank you. A whole heap of us catching on, you understand me? A lot of us catching on. Don't mind the accent. The accent don't mean say nothing up here, so take a chill pill. So what can we learn from this today? Iraq taught us that war based on fear and faulty intelligence leads to disaster. Am I wrong or am I right? As Iran sits at the edge of a similar cliff, we should ask hard questions. We should ask very hard questions. Who benefits from the conflicts? Who pays the price? And are we about to repeat the same thing? Remember those questions. Ask yourself the question, and probably when you get the answer, you will find the truth. I'm just here to give you my 2 cents on the matter. It doesn't mean, let me repeat again, these are my opinions, mine and mine alone. Me entitled to my opinion just like how you entitled to yours. So hello, me talk. Yes, so as I was saying before, where was I? I was at, we're talking about the difference between Iran and Iraq now, because of the increased social media presence where people are able to get their news from a lot of different sources. I can actually speak to the people who are actually in the country at the time this thing is taking place. Don't turn over camera. My tripod is trying to do something on its own. Right? So the increased visibility, it has made it harder for countries like the US and Israel to repeat the same thing like what they did in 2003. But it hasn't stopped the momentum towards confrontation. They still do what them think them need to do. So let's see what my conclusion is, right? So what can we learn? Iraq taught us that war that is based on fear and faulty intelligence leads to disaster. As Iran sits at the edge of a similar cliff, we should ask very hard and difficult questions. Questions such as, who benefits from all this conflict? Who does a war benefit? Because it certainly doesn't benefit the poorer people in the country. So ask who war benefit, who get benefited from war, who benefits from war, right? Iraq taught us that war based on fear and faulty intelligence leads to disaster. As Iran sits at the edge of a similar cliff, or that we say that, we want to know who benefits from conflict. Who pays the price? And are we about to repeat the same mistakes, right? So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, share and comment. Drop your comment and let's have a discussion to see what's going on. I'm just doing this video and it is based on my opinion, so I would like to know what are your thoughts on the matter. Do you see any parallels between the Iraq and the Iran situation, or are these totally different situations? Like, share and subscribe for more deep dives, and I will catch you in my next video. So guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for staying tuned. Remember, I'd like to hear your views on the matter, and I will catch you in my next video. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'm going, so peace, and I'm out.